Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.
Hello all, welcome to Ganesh IAS Academy. This is the special session. In this session, we are going to discuss about the previous year UPSC Mains economic question. Okay, so let's begin the session. Okay, this was a question asked in 2019. This is a 15 mark 250 words question. The question is about the public expenditure management is a challenge to the government of India in context of budget making during the post liberalization period. Clarify it. So clarify. This is the jargon used by the UPSC mains in most rarest of the rare scenario only. So it is nothing but you have to give the elaborate statements about it. For example, the question is about the public expenditure management is a challenge for the government of India in the context of the budget making during the post liberalization. After the LPG era in 1991, after the 1991, the liberalization happened. So by the way, it is more easy for the any countries to make a trade activities, and also the government's restriction towards the companies is also reduced. So in that scenario, the public expenditures management related to the taxation or also providing subsidies, so all these things become a challenge for the government of India in the budget making. So you have to say why it is. In such a way, you have to give a clarity to it. So the reason is, first of all, what the thing you can give in the intro is simply you can say about the LPG era. So why we went to the LPG era, the reason behind it. So about the issue of the very low forex availability. So you can say that. So the forex crisis or the balance of payment crisis we faced. So you can say in the intro part, it is like a historical background for this LPG era. Or else you can say about the fiscal policy, about the FRBM Act. So there is a certain restrictions on the budget making. We put certain restrictions on it based on the FRBM Act. You can say about the FRBM Act also in the intro part. So these are the possible intros. Then the answer should be like about. So there is a public expenditure management is a challenges for a government of India in the budget making is the reason is. First thing is about, for example, if you are going to give the subsidies before the LPG era, and after the LPG era. So in the before the LPG era is no one is going to question you, but after this LPG era, if you are going for any subsidies like fertilizer subsidies, or else electricity subsidies, or else food subsidies. So if you are going to provide any subsidies means, then the issue is about the WTO, about the box subsidies. So it is a blue box, gray box, so green box. There are the various box subsidies. So WTO will questions you because now you are open economy and you are a liberalized economy. So you are interfering into the economic activities. So economy is not going to run in a free hand. So you are going to interfere into it means then the WTO will come into the pictures and they will questions you. So by the way, the public expenditure management is becoming a challenge for the government of India in the post-liberalization era. So this is the way you have to give the answer. So you can make a subsidy as a question, subheading, and you can say that before the LPG era, there is no issue. After the LPG era, if you are going to provide any subsidy means, WTO will make a questions against you. Next. So if you are going to make a subsidies means, then you have to speak in the budget making only. So the budget making become a major issue. That is a challenge. Or else, next you can speak about the, if you are providing a subsidies related to the exports. So in that scenario, in the trade activities, you are going to provide any subsidies. Then the issues will be like the global countries like USA, they may put a sanctions. There is a list called as OFAC. In that list, if the US is going to list India means, then there will be the sanction for the India's import towards the USA. So that is going to affect the India's trade activity. So you have to reduce the subsidies activities towards the trade in your budget making. So this is the major thing. Or else, if you are not maintaining the forex reserve, means the IMF is going to question you. So to maintain the forex, you have to majorly focus on the public expenditures management. So these are the major challenges. In that way only you have to make a clarity. So the global institutions like IMF, WTO, or the sanctions from the developed countries. For example, there is a thing about in the WTO, there is a idea is the developed countries need to provide the open market towards the least developed countries. So in that scenario, for least developed countries, there is no issue for a trade restrictions. But when it comes to the developing countries, means US can put any sanctions. So that is going to affect the India's trade. There is a thing called as most favored nation, MF1. That is also in the WTO. So if you are going to make any budgets, the government need to think about the global organizations before they are going for any budget making. So there is a possibility of the sanctions. There is a possibility of the restrictions. So for example, there is a restrictions called as a tariff barrier and the non-tariff barrier. So these are the things going to affect your exports. So before you are going to do any budget activities like providing any subsidies, means that is the issue. So this is the issue of about the subsidies. Next issue is taxations. Now it is an open economy. So you have to make taxations that is more of limited manner to increases the trade activities to boost your economy. So if you are going to reduce the taxes, means the government revenue is going to reduce. So the spending on the social infrastructures like health, education, skill, that is going to be affected. So or else if you are going to increases the taxes, means then it is going to affect the trade activities or the growth, economic growth is going to affect it. So the balancing between the growth and the development, that is the major issue. So by the way, this is making a challenge for the India. So the liberalization makes the major challenges based on the taxation and the subsidies. By providing any taxation issues or else a subsidy issues, means then it is going to affect the India in a various manners. So these are the major issues. You can give the clarity. So it is more of like parallel answers only you needed, because it is not about anything that is more of point wise answers, because it is speaking about the incidents after the LPG era, why we are facing any challenges. In such a way you have to present your answer. That is more than enough. Okay, thank you.